You want to write a memorable story. A story for future storytellers. How do you write a story for children? By writing mainly for them, but not exclusively. You want to write a story like home. Now, how do you design your story as a home? Write short and simple scenes. Tailor chapters so that according to the character's interests. Link the characters to the story and the world. Offer them exciting moments of exploration. Allow them to try and experiment. And let them return home. The goal here is simple. Writing memorable stories. Stories people want to share. In this specific case, between ages. Stories people will want to transmit. More than anywhere else, here you're building legacy. Which kind of home do you want to build? You want to write short and simple scenes. Scenes that provide a high degree of surprise and at the same time are easy to focus on. You also want to create a diversity of scenes. So by creating short and simple scenes, you focus the action on one topic. It's easier to follow for you, and it's easier to follow for the public, as well as the characters. You want to display a sense of exploration. You want to allow the character to experiment and deliver an exciting experience. In order to allow the characters to explore easily, you want to develop simple settings. If you imagine the story as a home, each setting would be a room. Each room would have a function in the home and a role in the story. Defining early the character's interests and needs, or their individuality, will allow them to be linked easily to the world. It will allow them to learn from the world according to their interests and needs, or their strengths and weaknesses, and it will also allow them to create new elements in this world. Characters should want to return to this home, as the public will link themselves to the characters. The feeling of belonging will also be transmitted to them. The sense of return, the wish to return, can be created effectively by designing a series of separations. Why would you want to design stories as home? Because you want to transmit these stories. You want to be able to share them. You want to be able to represent them as harps. You want to turn them into legacies. And for all these three other objectives, you want to make them memorable. You want to share these stories. The key word is identity. Identity allows you to customize the home, or more accurately, force you to customize the home, because if the homes are too similar, they will be less memorable. Identity also allows you here to create specific gifts, specific types of settings, specific types of stories that will be acting as souvenirs. Identity also enhances the sense of attachment via the customization of the environment. And attachment is the core idea when it comes to art. These stories, these homes, are places people will want to return to, and the hearth is the allegory you'll use here. You want to make these stories adequately comfortable. Adequately, because they will be places where people will need to wander in and to ponder in. They should be comfortable enough to allow characters to think on their journey. The hearth has for function to be a place of merriment, but also a place of thorough thinking. The Pondering will help the characters and as well as the public to enhance the sense of continuity between stories. Enhance and not only constate. The legacies you're creating here are developed through a sense of uniqueness. The keyword here is saga. The continuity between the stories is essential, and this continuity, again, is not only seen by the public, it is also created as the public as they interpret the stories. The sense of uniqueness which will emerge from these stories will develop a feeling of familiarity, and this familiarity is what will make the stories memorable. If the public, as well as the character, can identify themselves to the home they're living in, they will remember it more vividly. Therefore, translating a wish to return to the home. Again, think as stories as gifts. Here, there will be a very specific kind of gift. There will be souvenirs. Which themes should you develop in these stories? There are 4 main themes you want to go through: adventure, impermanence, characters and relationships, and acceptance. The public wants an experience. To immerse themselves in this experience, they need familiarity. The characters are the same. Both the public and the characters need an appropriate balance between familiar and otherworldly in order to be implicated into the story. As you display elements of a due genre, framed in a due way, you create a context, and familiarity is created through context. In order to create belonging, the simplest way is to go through a saga. When you create a series of stories, you allow the public to meet the characters regularly, and repetition induces familiarity. Again, creating characters the public identifies to then adds the sense of belonging. How do you develop these themes? When it comes to adventure, you want to focus on growth. Adventure is excitement. Adventure is also emulation. Adventures push people. They convey enthusiasm. And eventually, as the adventure stretches, they can lead to confusion. In large extents of the world, your characters will end up lost. At some point, they'll need rest. Rest from exhausted experiences. Where will they return to? Impermanence is developed through the topic of loss. These stories allow you to teach the people how to bear and manage painful emotions, whether it is fear or sadness. Loss is an essential topic you will want to introduce in these stories. Children's tales are comforting tales. They may be no better places to teach how to manage grief. Your characters will be facing, as in many stories, danger. However, not all stories turn situation of crisis into occasions to develop a sense of dedication. Wherever there will be pain, your characters will have the ability to assist one another, alimenting the feeling of loss if one or more character is about to disappear. Impermanence is an image. Show it. Display this will. What do you want to share with the characters? What do you want to share with the public? What would be of interest for them? Impermanence allows you to display growth. It allows you to display change. Display the possible reactions to change. Frustration is one possibility. As you depict impermanence, you'll want to write your character as reacting to it. You want to display a multiplicity of reactions. You want your story to be focused on your characters. And for them to be focused on the characters, you have to develop relationships. Your characters will be fostering relationships. They will be taking care of each other. They will be fighting for each other. And they will be fighting each other. Make the conflict relatable. You can make the conflict look ridiculous. Focus on the mundane of the conflict. Make this conflict as relatable as possible. And then make the reconciliation inevitable. Characters push each other toward the story's end. The biggest ones will be looking for the smallest one. They thrive for mutual evolution. An essential part of this evolution is accepting weaknesses, as well as understanding the balance between fear and attachment. A character, as they care for each other and they realize their own and others' weaknesses, will develop a sense of awareness. Write characters which aren't afraid to look weak. Write characters which are asking for help. Your characters will pursue an ideal, maybe an ideal representation of the world, an ideal vision of themselves, or an ideal of what their partners should be. Your characters will thrive for growth, and this growth, developed through their adventures, needs patience to be identified and to be constated. Acceptance here is the ability to accept one's weaknesses as well as others' weaknesses. A child's tale is the best place to let the public soften. Why soften here? These stories should be written with a moderate level of anger. The main difference between children's stories and others are the ability to limit this anger, limit this frustration by being more honest and simpler. Just explore. And let go of anger.